Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a Valentine's Day nail look. I'm starting off with my Kiara Sky nail forms as well as my Young Nails Greg Signature brush. It's a size 12. I'm also using my Young Nails Protein Bond and their Speed Clear Acrylic and the Not Polished Dark Pink Acrylic. If you are new to my channel and you've not seen me do a sculpted set, I typically prefer to do a clear base as well as use a clear bead to attach my natural nail to the nail form. I find that I like the look of this better as the nail grows out. It also helps prevent staining. If you are somebody who changes out your colored acrylic very often, it can start staining your natural nail over time. So this is just kind of a protective layer. And as far as using it to connect the natural nail to the nail form, I find that if you are somebody who does a lot of fills on your nails, over time your natural nail is going to grow out, and this will give you a cleaner look as well as make it easier for you to see where your natural nail is in comparison to the acrylic, so that when you are trying to file and clean up underneath the nail, you don't risk hurting yourself or your client. So I just prefer that no matter what color I'm using, even if it's a color like today, like this dark pink acrylic that really isn't going to stain my nail. I just like to be in the habit, so I do it no matter what colors I'm using. So what I do is I am applying that to connect the nail, but then I'm going in with that dark pink to actually build my actual free edge and the actual apex of my nail, and I'm pulling it into almost a stiletto shape, but I'm kind of lobbing off the end of it, so it's going to be a really tight coffin. This is one of my favorite shapes if you are somebody who likes the look of a long stiletto, but maybe you don't feel like you can wear that on a day-to-day just because they're not the most easy to work with. I feel like the coffin shape just allows you a little more flexibility, and you don't end up poking yourself or your clothes or other people, but it allows you to get that really tapered look if you are somebody like me who feels like that kind of shape tends to fit your hands better. So I'm going in and just applying my acrylic like normal. I apply my free edge first, and then I work back towards my cuticle and then worry about my apex and just blending out any product where I might have any low spots. So I am not a 1 bead, 2 bead, or 3 bead method girly. I also feel like when you go for the longer nails, it is harder for you to do the full nail in that minimal amount of beads, so I just apply as much as I need to get the look that I'm going for. And then on my ring finger, I do go ahead, or sorry, my pointer finger, I am going ahead, I did my clear bead, and now I'm building out a base coat. I am trying to keep this one as thin as possible because I'm going to be encapsulating some heart confettis into the nail. I just want this as kind of like a background color, so I'm just applying this in the same shape as I did the thumb, but again trying to keep the shape as tight and thin as I can so that I don't end up accidentally filing out my confettis. I did go a little thicker than I intended, but it just takes some practice to figure out how much you want your nail to look, because for me, I tend to like my nail on the thinner side. Even when I'm going for a long set, I don't like them to be too chunky, but if you're somebody who feels like the thinner nails break on you easy, or just for your natural apex you need a little bit more product, definitely add a bit more. But you want to keep any base layers when you're encapsulating any type of confettis, colored acrylic, or any products into the nail, that you keep that thin so that you don't accidentally file it out when you're done. Once I have my base layer applied, I do go in with a little bit of that Speed Clear and those heart confettis, and I'm just applying them wherever I see fit. You can apply more or less of these as you prefer. I tend to like to apply a little bit more. I get a little heavy-handed, but you can apply just a little bit of them if you want more of like an airy kind of look. I do recommend though, no matter how much you are applying, that you try to concentrate some of them towards the connection of your free edge and your your natural nail, just to hide that, because I am using a very transparent pink today, you can still see my natural nail through it. So that just helps me hide that transition between my natural nail and where the acrylic starts. So just a little tip, but once you have the products placed, you can go ahead and encapsulate them. I tend to work pretty wet when I'm doing an encapsulated set, because I try to get as minimal bubbles. You'll see later on in the video, there's some nails that I ended up rushing and I ended up getting a lot of bubbles in. It's not the biggest deal in my opinion, unless you're doing nails like this where you have more translucency to your color, and that's where you'll see more of those bubbles poke through in your finished design. So one way to combat that is to not overwork your acrylic and to try to work a little bit wetter. That'll help prevent the bubbles from forming. But I do the same thing as I do when I'm building my free edge, so I kind of work from my tip back towards the cuticle. It just helps me create almost a natural apex. That's how the acrylic just naturally falls, and it just helps me prevent like too much bulkiness towards the cuticle and towards the tip of the nail. So I just kind of keep the same method until I am happy with the thickness and the shape of the nail. For my middle finger, I am doing the exact same process. So again, apply a thin clear bead of acrylic, go in with your dark pink to just build a base, add in your confettis and encapsulate with the clear again. So same process as I just did on the pointer finger, but I wanted to show you the process again. One thing about sculpted nails that I just wanted to say is you do have to have your liquid to powder ratio pretty down pat before you go in and do them, especially for nails that are as long and tapered as this. You kind of need to find the sweet spot between your beads. So you want to find a not too wet but also not too dry bead, and I know that's something that people say for every acrylic application, but when you're applying your acrylic to a form and building your free edge, you need it to be dry enough that it's not running all over and you can actually build a shape, but you want it to be wet enough that I can pull it and stretch it to the shape and length that I want without it getting too thick, especially if I'm doing an encapsulated set. So it does take a little bit of skill and nuance, but definitely keep practicing if you have just started with forms or if you're new to them and you want to try them out. I do think that forms can offer some benefit that tips can't, and I do think the opposite as well. For tips, I feel like you can get a more unified shape overall for all 10 fingers, because the shapes are pretty much pre-built in on most tips nowadays. You need very minimal shaping and filing to get them to really fit each nail that you're applying on, but I do feel like they don't offer as much customizability if you are trying to fit your apex to your natural nail shape and just really get like a very snug fit. Sometimes tips can require a lot of customization too, so I kind of like the fact that you can kind of skip some of those steps with forms, but to each their own. If you are doing this type of design with nail tips, I'd recommend clear nail tips, and then I would definitely recommend to still do just a light layer of the dark pink underneath before you encapsulate encapsulate, again, it just adds a bit of color, so I do recommend you apply it that way even if you are doing it with tips. So the process would still be relatively the same. You would just do most of your shaping of your nail prior to applying the acrylic versus the way that I'm doing it now, which is as I'm building my acrylic. So different strokes for different folks, but definitely try different methods and see what works for you. I learned on nail forms and I really do have a love for them, but I definitely see where nail tips have their place in the nail industry. So definitely play around with products and find what your best ones are and which ones you prefer for different looks. For this ring finger, I am going in with that dark pink acrylic from Not Polish and just building out my nail completely with this color. So with this, when I'm building my free edge, I don't have to be as precise on how thick I make it because I'm not worried about filing anything out. The entire nail is going to be built in this color, so I can basically just apply as much as I think I'll need and just go straight in with that to begin with. Now, I do a long nail for this look, so I definitely stretch the product a bit, so I will still have to go back in and apply more acrylic to just build up that apex, but I do think it's easier when you're doing sculpted nails if you are doing a solid color, because you can really just apply the acrylic and worry about your shaping versus having to worry about how thick you are building it. So definitely, if you are trying sculpted nails like I was talking about earlier, try doing solid colors first and then build up to encapsulation, because encapsulation can be tricky depending on what you're trying to build into the nail. Once your acrylic is filed and shaped, I'm going in with some Young Nails Speed White acrylic, my Makartt Rhinestone gel glue, the Young Nails Rhinestone Picker upper tool, and some rhinestones from Amazon. I'm going in on my pointer and my middle finger with some Not Polished Gloss It top coat. I'm doing that now because I'm not adding any other embellishments to these nails, so I'm just gonna apply this to just finish those off so I can focus on the design for the rest of the set. Once those two nails are cured, I'm going in with some rhinestones, and I'm using these as the center of my flowers. I'm using this light baby pink color. In the future, I think I will try this differently. I'm not sure how most people recommend to do 3D flowers or 3D designs. I'm still really new and beginner at this. I did it after, I did my petals after I did the rhinestone. And I felt like, as you can see here, some of that white acrylic got onto the rhinestone and it just made it not look as clean, and I couldn't get it to like come off of the rhinestone really easily. So I definitely, if I was gonna do this again, would probably add my rhinestone after. Let me know if you have any tips on how to do this. I'm really not well versed in 3D acrylic. I do want to try to practice more. So if you have any tips or tricks that have worked for you, let me know. I definitely want to try them out. I also don't apply any acetone or anything into my monomer. I know some people recommend that. I will try that in the future. But today the only thing I really did was use the speed acrylic versus using a core acrylic from Young Nails, because these set up faster and I can get to that clay consistency a little quicker than with their core products. But that is one thing. If you're doing 3D, you want to try to get a clay consistency versus having it be very runny, because you want to be able to like shape and mold it into the shape that you're looking for. So definitely need some more practice, but this is how I did it for this set. On my pinky, I did my flower a little differently. If I was to do this set over, I would also change this. My thumb and my pinky, I just kind of changed up how I did the petals, and I feel like it didn't look super uniform in the end. So I would just try to make sure that my petals are all pretty similar if I was gonna do this again, because the different looks going from like pointed to round just kind of made the look not look like it was going together, or that it was one consistent like cohesive set. So definitely try to keep them as similar as you can so that it doesn't look out of place. But again, I'm still a beginner, so I was just kind of messing around and just playing to see what I could fit in the spaces, because I feel like that's the hardest thing that I've really come across with the 3D, is trying to figure out what size bead you need for the space that you're trying to apply into, because you are generally trying to build like very small shapes, and when you're trying to fit it like in this area against the cuticle, sometimes it's hard and you pick up a little too much product. In this aspect where you see me applying the product here, I also don't know how people do like layered kind of design, so that's something I'll have to kind of figure out as I go. So definitely take this with a grain of salt. I just want to show you a general look, but I'm sure a lot of you can probably do your 3D flowers much better than I can, so definitely just take this as like a learning curve. But I definitely still liked how the look came out. I would just do some tweaks if I was going to redo it in the future. Once you're done with all of that, I'm going in with some top coat. As you can see, this is the nail that I really had a lot of bubbles on. Don't worry, I am gonna add some white gel polish and do a blooming effect. So I'm taking a little bit, any white gel polish will really work. I'm actually not even sure which one I grabbed for this set, but I'm just taking that on a liner brush and I'm just doing some very soft like pulls through the product to kind of create a random abstract shape. I just wanted this to look very flowy and kind of airy, and just kind of go in a shape that complements the flower design that I already have on the nail. So I do it slightly differently on each one, and in this event I did use a top coat, but you can also use a traditional blooming gel. Each product will kind of react to the gel that you're going to apply over top a little differently. Blooming gel will get you like a very like cloudy soft effect. Gel polish top coat is not going to bloom as quickly, but it definitely can still give you that effect without it needing to like spread like too far out. You do have to maybe play with it just a little bit more than you do blooming gel, but it worked for what I wanted in this look because I wanted there to still be some gaps where you could see the pink acrylic underneath. And again, I just kind of do it in a shape that I think complements the flower, so I'm not going too crazy. But once I have that, I do go ahead and top coat around all of my flowers on the rest of those 3 nails that I haven't top coated yet, just to kind of seal them and make sure that the design stays in place. And once you're done with that, that is it for this look. Now, I did, like I said, have some things that I would tweak in the future, but overall I do think that I like the way that the look came out, and I think if you are recreating this and you do those tweaks that I said, the look will come out much more crisp and uniform. So yeah, other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this look. It was fun for me to do. I actually did this quite a long time ago, but I didn't get it up in time for Valentine's Day, so I did save it so that I can show you guys again. But I do really like this. The shape is my favorite, so definitely let me know what your favorite shape is and what complements your nails the best. I like this shape because it's easy for me to work with, but I do really like the tapered look because stilettos were my favorite when I started, but as I started getting longer and longer, I felt like they were hard for me to do my daily tasks. So doing this type of shape really helps me do that, but still keep that tapered look that I like. All of the products will be listed down below, so if you're curious on that, definitely check that out so you can see what was used in this video. Let me know what your plans are for this Valentine's Day. I don't know if I really have any crazy plans. I might just end up eating candy and sitting on my couch watching TV. We'll see. But yeah, if you like this, thumbs this video up. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see from me in the future, and please subscribe to my channel. It really means a lot. I am so close to 900 subscribers, so I really would love to get to my goal of 1,000 subscribers this year. Yeah, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day wherever you are, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody.